Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Guile here, and welcome back to another Supreme Commander Epic. It's going to be custom 4v4 business going down on this generated map, of which we will talk more of in just a moment. Thank you for that introduction, Hank. That's a very nice way to start the stream. Cheers for that, sir. Anyway, not letting that throw me off my stride. Yeah, I wanted to label this as an average Joe's, but we do have a couple of pros in there, but they're low pros. Technically, it's a ProAm, but it's all a bit skewed. We'll get into that in just a second. Let's make our introductions to begin with, though, starting with Team 1 up here at the top, and then Team 2 down here at the bottom. Going first for Team 1 at the top left-hand corner of your screen, it is Robotic 1. There he is, going UEF, how terribly sensible, and Combat Green opening first land. Team member number 2 to his right, another green this time. It's Lime Green. It's AFK. He's going Seraphim today, opening first land. Team member number 3 probably going to be handling air, I would suggest, for Team 1. Going Aeon, if that's the case, terribly sensible. In Mellow Yellow, it is Composite. There he is, opening first land. And last but not least, over here on the top right-hand corner, another UEF, this time it's Baby Pink going first land. Sakura in Bloom. Sakura in Bloom. All Japanese impressions there thrown in free of charge. That's a homage, by the way. That's not me dissing Japanese culture. I don't work for Ubisoft. LOL. Sorry, that tickled me more than it should. Who is it who said that laughing at one's own jokes was a sign of a simple mind? Yeah, well, they stink. Anyway, down here at the bottom right-hand corner, it's Hooligan Gamer for Team 2, going UEF in Dijon Yellow, opening first land. Team member number 2 to the west, just over here, going Cybrin Bless Him, it's Chancellor in Spetsnaz Green. He's gone first land, second there, next to the Hydro. Possibly handling air as well for Team 2, another Aeon selection, which is what leads me to think that being the case. It's Freedom Cobra. There is Freedom, very direct name strategy there. Freedom Cobra. I don't know why he's from East London, but apparently he is. Anyway, he's going Aeon, opening first land. And last but not least, in the bottom left-hand corner, in Breast Cancer Awareness Pink, it's Hank, and I can't say the rest, but you can read it. Somehow that makes it okay, as long as I don't say the words. But he'll get a winner of this week's Amusing Name Award. So well done you, sir. Anyway, going Breast Cancer Awareness Pink, going Land All Day, by the looks of things, it is Hank. So, what is the deal with our ratings? This isn't a team ladder match. This is, in fact, just a random custom game, as I mentioned at the beginning. So these are legit ratings, or what I consider to be more accurate representations of players' skill, and you can see there's quite a variance. So we have 2 pros, or be them low order pros. Those are Sakura at the top right and Hank at the bottom left, so they're kind of matching each other there. They're going to be facing off against weaker players, which is going to be interesting. And then we've got 2 high-level Joes. That is AFK over here for Team 1 and Chancellor for Team 2, both in the corresponding positions there. Then we've got basically 4 Joes, and we've got some very low Joes as well. So an 1100 in Composite, handling air potentially for Team 1, handling air potentially for Team 2. Freedom Cobra is an 1800. Hooligan Gamer over here in the bottom right-hand corner, facing off against Sakura, probably. He's a mere 900, and then up in the top left-hand corner, facing off against Hank, we have a 400 in Robotic 1. So that should be an interesting couple of fronts to watch. And these are the 2 areas where all the battles are going to go down as well. So, I mean, it's a very, very defensible rock formation along both sides of the map. You can imagine it's going to be difficult to breach into your opponent's territory. Lots of base defensive infrastructure up here, lots of cliff edges that makes defense easier. A big old plateau snaking its way across the middle, which kind of makes attacking less easy. Bottlenecks to get through at both ends of there, and then you've just got these 2 basins either side, which is where I imagine the majority of the fighting is going to take place. So I'm wondering if we're going to get a movement from Team 1 down in this direction, where Team 2 are weak, and the same vice versa up here towards Team 1. What's the mass poop situation, Guile? I hear you scream from across the internet. Well, actually, there's a ton of reclaim on this 20x20 map. Look at all of the poop lying around, just waiting for little engineers like Bernard here just to get on his Todd, finish his operation. In fact, he's not involved. Oh no, he is. He's going to get over here, but he's grabbing mass points instead, not involved on reclaim. But look at all of these yummy, yummy rocks. Lovely limestone rocks, said the rock biter. And if you know what that's from, you and I can be friends. No Googling. I hear you tapping out the quote at the back. I will not have it. So, we've had a little drop to the right-hand side over here from Chancellor. Aggressively placed engineers has grabbed a mech, thrown down a radar, and is also now currently throwing down some land factories with an aim to hold this position. That is that's an interesting choice. I don't know if it's going to be successful. He's literally on Sakura's doorstep, so I imagine holding this will be tricky, but he's stamping his authority. I like the play, and he's backing it up right now with some air harass on the 4 forward mexes over here, which Sakura has already picked up. However, there are interceptors lurking from Sakura trying to shut this down. There is an escort detail currently of 1, and the interceptors from Sakura seem to have prioritized that before the bomber, which probably makes sense. Is the bomber now bugging out? Certainly looks that way. He's taken a bit of damage. How many kills does he have? He's got 5 kills to his name, that bomber. Not too shabby. He's about to add some more as he passes overhead. Does some serious damage to that striker there, but takes out his assisting scout. Poor old Barry. He'll be sorry to lose him. Always difficult proceeding without any intel. And our first upgrades are on the way. Is that the very first one? Freedom Cobra getting his second gun upgrade. So actually, it's not the very first one at all. Any other upgrades have started? Not that I can see so far. So, Freedom Cobra potentially looking to use his comm aggressively, but is he going to get the chance to do so here? I suggest not. He's going to have to bring it out into one of these 2 basins, and this is probably going to be where it's needed most. We've got a little bit of a dribble of striker goodness coming down from Sakura down through this passageway, and they are sort of running up towards Hooligan Gamer, who's playing it very defensive. He's already got 3 fortified T1 point defense positions around his commander. He's currently working on an anti-air turret. He means to hold this position. He's already got some forward land factories. I like that. So he may only be a 900, but he is playing this cautiously and solidly, and actually the little aggressive drop we saw a moment ago from Chancellor doesn't seem to be working out too badly so far. He has brushed aside those 4 forward T1 mexes belonging to Sakura with a handful of Mantis and is proceeding northwards. However, going to run into a merry band of strikers. That will be the end of this little incursion. Little mass delivery for Sakura. He won't say no to that. But he does need to push forward and ultimately wipe this out. Otherwise, he's not going to be able to hold on and secure these 4 mexes. And that's a lot of mass potentially lying uncapitalized if he doesn't manage to hold those going forward. AFK's brought his comm down into the basin, which is advisable. AFK, as we said earlier, is the 2nd highest rated player on Team 1. And he needs to hold the line, or help Robotic One hold the line against Hank, who will no doubt be expanding aggressively. Let's take a quick look at the eco situation so far. It's 274 for Team 2 and 322 for Team 1. So Team 1 with a slight lead on generative eco so far, but it's more or less neck and neck actually, with a slight lead for Team 2 so far, thanks in no small part to the reclaim situation. They are up about 4k overall in terms of reclaim inside the... God, we're 8 minutes into this already. Doesn't feel like that long at all. Guessing there was a lot to talk about early doors on the intro to this, but Chancellor now bringing his commander forward to assist his ground spam up here on the right hand side. How is Sakura... I can't even say Segura. I'm not sure it's comedian Tom Segura. Don't know if strategy gaming is quite his thing. No, Christina doesn't value strategy gaming, or indeed gaming of any kind. A little bit of a tangent there for those of you who aren't friends of Your Mum's House podcast. Do check that out, though. One of my guilty pleasures. And we've got some tech on the ground for Sakura now. T2 pillars up front, making a royal mess of Mantis that befall their path. But Chancellor showing up with his commander. It's an unupgraded comm, but nonetheless it should be enough to shut down this little attack. Or not. Taking a long time to chew through the 1500 hit points on that lead tank. And in fact, the lead tank will remain as it gets outside of the comm's range. And they're going to pick off a couple of these mexes as they go past. Maybe even all four. That's a lovely little run by. Check that out. Nice work from Sakura, who's now looking to push deeper. Hasn't got enough forces with him, though, to risk breaching this position down here. Freedom Cobra, who we saw upgrading his guns earlier, is now a triple gun upgraded Aeon sniper comm, but as yet not using his comm offensively. There's a lot of resources tied up in that, and he could be doing wonders for his team on the ground if he were to bring this into the battle. The snaky middle plateau has a strong Team 1 vibe about it. Looks like Team 2 has been locked out of that entirely. That is to assume that they'd made any push for it at all. They probably haven't. There's a lot of land factories on here belonging to Sakura, but not a lot of ground forces around them as yet. 11 minutes in. Generative Eco, 468 to 460 in favour of Team 1 now. And Freedom Cobra is on the move. Perhaps he was just waiting for a little bit of backup, and I love the unit comp we've got going on here. Tons of Asylum shield generators, a whole horde of T2 blazes, and even a Harbinger in there for a little extra damage. Another one coming up behind. And this is a force to be reckoned with. If he moves up onto the central plateau, he could break all of this. Is he going to do that, or is he going to push further eastwards? It looks like he favours the plateau, at least for now. Going to use that extra range he's got to pick apart some defences. Is he going to push further? Maybe not. Maybe he was just dropping back to allow his forces to catch up with the comm so they go in together. Looks like it's worked out. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it works out for him. One factory down. Two more at risk. Middle one going to fall shortly after, I should think. There it goes. Really, we've got just a merry band, a couple of merry bands of T1 in the area. Nothing that's going to be able to repel this. So lovely little smash and grab from Freedom Cobra, who's an 800, remember? One of the Joes, the lowest of the Joes, in fact, for Team 2. Certainly pulling his weight so far in this one. Taking Sakura out of the middle plateau altogether. There's really not a lot in the way of firepower for Team 1 to repel this. What's he going to decide to do, though? I shouldn't think he'd want to split this force up. And he can't push in the east and the centre simultaneously. It looks for the moment like Chancellor is holding his own on the right-hand side. He's got himself a decent number of rhinos. How many has he got in there? 17 rhinos in this area. That's a decent amount of firepower. Sakura did re-grab those 4 mexes. They're all at T1. So he hasn't invested anything in upgrades over there. What with it being in the precarious location it is. Lovely little move down the centre. So Team 1 getting evicted from the central plateau. How are things going over in the west? Well, Robotic 1 seems to be holding his own against Hank. Got some mongoose, or mongoose, out in force over on the west hand side. Nice little force of T1 bombers buzzing overhead from AFK. pumping out engineers at the moment from T3 factories, but I'm sure he'll kick into gear with some loyalist or brick production before too long. It's a lot of teched up mass extractors in the backfield for Hank. How much mass is he pulling in? Well, he's pulling in 307, but Sakura in the top right is pulling in 350. How long, I wonder, before we see the arrival of our first experimental units? A trio of bricks out for Chancellor over on the right-hand side. And the house clearing on the central plateau going very well for Chancellor. How's his kill-loss ratio? Well, it's pretty darn good at 1.3. No, sorry, I'm one down. Talking about Chancellor, it's Freedom Cobra. It's not pretty good. It's immaculate at 3.08. That is exceptional. Down in no small part to the tech mismatch and, of course, the copious amounts of shield coverage that this force has. He did everything right at the start of this one. And there I was saying that he was going to go for air. No, not at all. He's not handling air. He is full ground. It seems to be Hank that's going air. Is that a similar situation over on the right-hand side? Lovely little run-by, meanwhile, on the right-hand side by Chancellor, who's breaking into Sakura's base up in the top right-hand corner with a bunch of rhinos. Vanguard already in situ, taking down T2 mass extractors over here. How is this going to affect Sakura's mass output? Well, at the moment, it's not looking too bad. He has actually increased his mass production since last we checked in. It's now at 374, up from 350. But it is falling again, thanks to the demise of this set of mass points. 5 T2 mass extractors taken out. He's back down to 350 again. And the airlifting in of emergency Percival relief should put an end to this engagement once and for all. But goodness me, if the damage hasn't been extensive. It's actually 6 mexes which have been taken out. There's another one further to the south. Very nicely done indeed. And of course these 4 lead ones have been taken out once again. So Sakura having trouble with a leaky front line, not helped by the fact that these aggressively placed forward T2 and T3 factories are literally right on his doorstep. And taking them out isn't easy right now. He doesn't seem to have the ground forces capable. He has got some Percys up here, which he just airdropped in to deal with that defensive situation. That must have been a drop. There's no way up from this position up over here. It looked like they were coming across here. Is that a... That can't be. Is that a cheeky little... Oh, we're going to have to keep an eye on that on both sides of the field because of course it's mirrored. So that would be down here. It is! Look! Barely wide enough for a single file formation, but enough to get a bunch of rhinos across, that's for sure. That is some saucy map making, decision making. Good work, Kyle, from the map generator. All repetition thrown in free of charge. Bricks charging into this base over in the west, meeting up with Freedom Cobra's forces from the center. And this could be problems for Team 1 right now. And Robotic 1 over here, currently routed to the spot on his comm with an upgrade, a tactical missile upgrade no less. 82% done. I think he's got time to finish. We're going to lose some factories over here belonging to AFK. We have got some forces defending, but these pesky shield gens, man, making life very difficult for Team 1. I know things are expected to change drastically over the course of the game, but at the moment my MVP, my running MVP for the game so far is Freedom Cobra. Love to see an 800 rated player performing so flawlessly. Still over a 3.02 kill loss ratio. That is exceptional. Chancellor now over 2 also. And look at the difference, the contrast. Team 1, Not a single person over a 1. Robotic 1 at 0.28. Yes, we know he's a 400 rated, but the contrast between the two teams is stark. And that might be why it is merely a 74% game balance. But then you look at the averages down here. There's only a 50-point difference between these two teams on their averages, 1125 to 1175. Apologies if you can hear my dog yapping away in the background there. Terribly concerned about Starmer's incoming tax changes to capital gains. Tells me he lies awake at night sleeping about it. Lies awake at night sleeping about it? Lies awake at night weeping about it. There we go. Freudian slips all round. Robotic 1 with his tactical missile upgrade complete, locked and loaded, but also in danger of getting caught out here. There is a direct route back to his base, but that's a lot of firepower that's coming in his direction. I think they are well aware of his comms position. That is the view from Team 2. Yeah, they know where that comm is, which is why that horde of blue and pink is herding in this direction. Robotic 1 trying to get his comm in to safety and get forces in between the comm and the inbound force. Bricks very nearly on him now. Robotic 1 at full health, but it's not going to last long against Bricks. Couple of Percivals show up. Is this going to be enough to save him? Even if he does manage to hold out against Hank's T3 here, there's a hell of a lot of T2 firepower and even some Harbingers in here from Freedom. It's not looking great here unless they inexplicably decide to withdraw. I can't imagine why they would do that, though, at this point. It looks like they've got him banged to rights. He's even stopped his retreat. I think he knows he's going down here, or maybe that was a misclick. Now he's retreating once again. But look at the hit points being shed, absolutely plummeting. And just the other side of 21 minutes, I think we're going to have our first ejection, or maybe not. Look at this. Quick change up. They are now going after the infrastructure. There are engineers in here trying to erect defenses. I guess if you know you've got the comm, start taking down the factories. They'll only change hands and go to another player anyway. And I really don't see Robotic 1 getting out of this. That was quite a profound ignoring of the target, though. But they've reacquired him, and boom! 22 minutes and 7 seconds. We have our first ejection, and it's Team 1 who lose a player. Silver lining. It was their lowest rated, so hopefully there will be some comeback for them. But yeah, that was a rough little push. He was just a little bit too far forward with his comm, and really Team 1 have not looked like they've had the ground forces required for some time in this game. Sakura is holding the right flank okay at the moment. I'd actually say Ney pushing back nicely here and in with a chance to finally scrub this set of 4 factories, which has been so annoyingly forwardly placed for him. He needs to get his Percivals into this position to wipe this base ASAP. They are still producing units, but over on the left-hand side, look at this power vacuum that's been created now with the loss of Robotic 1. But we do have experimentals entering service now. Composite turning up with a GC in the nick of time to save AFK's main base. We do have a bank of T2 point defense, which is doing its level best against all of these shielded targets here. Will the GC be able to hold? There is a lot of T2 and T3 coming at him here. They need to prioritize their fire on that Colossus. Colossus now down to 85,000 hit points out of 100k. Broadsword or 2 showing up from Sakura. Absolutely critical for Team 1 that this GC wins out here. Needs to start scooping up some of these bricks. There they go. He's getting himself some rank in veterancy, which is replacing some of the hit points, but he's down into the red. There goes another rank in vet. Oh, actually, no, that's his first. Oh, excuse me, I must have been hovering over one of the other bricks. That was his first rank in vet, which did replenish a chunk of HP, but it wasn't enough. And now AFK stands to lose more structures in his main base. It has bought him a little bit of time, though. Engineers in the backfield just over here have got another line of defense up and running. His comm strutting its stuff just over here, unupgraded, so potentially vulnerable. But the amount of forces from Team 2 here is beginning to dwindle. Question is, do we have more incoming? We have some, but not a lot. Interesting, we haven't had the follow-up from this group. Maybe Freedom Cobra looking to hold this position here now, or allow some breathing room for Hank to get established in this basin, rather than throwing it away on an attack he doesn't think will bear fruit. Although AFK in danger here, also down to 4,900 hit points. But he's nearly finished an Ithota, and that has drawn the attention of the inbound forces. Oh my god, that must be so nearly finished. You can see that is the progress bar, but the engineers are getting obliterated. That Ithota not going to be finished yet. AFK still alive. 12 kills to his name, 1 rank in vet. I think he's going to manage to hold out here. Not a lot of reinforcements inbound on the ground from his teammates. It's got a kind of a trickle of harbingers coming in now. And that one gunship. Is that the same one that's been in the whole time? No, it isn't. It's got only 2 kills. But wow, look at what's happened to AFK's base. He's still got most of his core, or all of his core mass, so that's something. AFK's mass production at 256. Sakura's ecoing has been off the charts. He's currently chip leader on mass production at 850 mass per tick. Ticks up to 950 when I mention it, but that might be reclaim related. And actually, Team 2 only slightly ahead by what looks to be around 50 to 100 mass per tick. Level pegging by what the readout is currently able to show us at that higher value range. But wow. That top left-hand corner now sporting a little bit of a pink infection. Cybran land factories in place, and T3 and T1 engineers surging forwards around Robotic One's old core mass. Another little group of bricks pushing further north. What's happening over here in the east, though? Sakura did scratch that base over there on the right-hand side. And the forward line of infrastructure, which had been operating earlier for Hooligan, has been taken out. And now a very sizable Percival force is marching on the main base of Hooligan, who's currently routed to the spot on a T3 upgrade. No doubt would like to get that to allow him to start spamming up some more Ravagers. We've got a little line of Triads up front, some Percivals, and also some bricks belonging to Chancellor to his left. Probably just enough defensive firepower to make Sakura think again, and it certainly looks like he is issuing a retreat. His Percy's going to back on up a little further to the north. But that will allow Sakura some time to consolidate in the basin. A couple of extra mass points. Still hasn't reclaimed the 4 mass points back up here. We'll probably find time to devote an engineer or 2 to that, surely. But he is flying. But he's no longer in the lead. Hank in the lead on mass production. 1.1k versus 1k. Sprawling infrastructure down here in the bottom left-hand corner. Lots and lots of air factories going up now as players start to concentrate on late game production. Hordes of fighters, gunships, strap bombers and experimentals soon to enter service, I'm sure. Once again, a tidy shielded army, this time mainly comprising T3 units, harbingers and sniper bots. pushing up from that western approach in towards the center. There is a fire base in the middle over here belonging to Composite, shielded by 3 T2 shield gens and sizable number of T2 point defense batteries. Ooh, that a tactical nuke? That is a tactical nuke, landing right in the center of Sakura's Percival formation. Can't see a damn thing, but once it clears, we'll see just how many Percivals are left. Wish I'd selected them beforehand so we knew. Well, that's torn a hole in that formation, that's for sure. And now, surely that's going to provoke a retreat. Is it going to provoke a counter push from Team 2? A little one, certainly. Bricks and Percivals from Hooligan and Chancellor pushing out just a smidge. Oh, wow. You see all of the control gain going on. Too many engineers in the area for Sakura. Just detonated them all. I want to do a quick ASF count because I feel like that's going to become a more important feature of the game now. 71 air superiority fighters for Hank. Sakura has 143. So Team 1 currently with air dominance. We do have some other players sporting some air power. Chancellor with a decent number over here, and he's going to actually have a pop at this horde of gunships that's coming his way. Escort detail will leap to their defense. In comes Hank with his air force. They are going to focus down the gunships. Maybe. Oh, that's horrible engage for Team 2. I feel like they thought they were at least on some sort of equal footing on the air side of things. Perhaps. If you didn't think you were, would you not just suicide your fighters and try and take down as many gunships as you can? Now there's a horde of gunships moving in towards Freedom Cobra's main base, all of which is unshielded and none of which has any flak coverage. What are they going after? There's a ton of energy storage and the like up the back and power plants. Where are they going? Flies overhead over all the factories. Escort detail way out of position. Hank with his next batch of fighters comes roaring in to try and take some of these gunships out. The only problem is there's a fresh group of gunships coming in further to the east. Well, not enough to entice those gunships to stay around over here. That's another Billy nuke going off against the ground forces of Sakura. Nothing he can really do about that at the moment. This has been some horrible, horrible escorting. He had air dominance and decided not to use it. I guess there's too much going on for him at the moment. But yeah, all of those gunships just got destroyed and really achieved very little. He lost a few units here and here. Took out a bunch of energy storage. I'm not sure why there was that much energy storage. A serious amount of it, but I'm sure they know best. Another nuke out, going in towards this formation. Percivals need to really move out of range if possible of this Billy nuke. They're going to keep getting picked off. Just not ideal. Thotas marching out from the main base. So many engineers over on that left-hand side. But there's a very large force of bricks coming in once again from Hank. This is like an open door right now. Composite doing his best to seal it, coming across from the middle with a couple of GCs and a bunch of Harbingers. Hank probably won't turn around to engage that, but instead try to make it into AFK's base once again. That would be the play if I were in charge, which of course I'm not. Tons of Monkey Lords under construction over here. So eco-wise, Team 2 comfortably ahead now. It's 2.3k to 1.6k, or 1.7. That's a massive advantage in terms of total mass accrued. Well, 90,000 or 100,000 mass difference. Not as much as I would have thought, but that will deviate even more substantially going forward at this rate. Gunships brought to bear against the encroaching bricks. Again, where's the escort detail? Way out of position. Hank able to swat all of the gunships, and it looks like he might have at least reached fighter parity, maybe overtaken Sakura now. Big engage. He's got some assistance as well from Chancellor. Team 2 looking like they might be about to catch air dominance now. Whalers over here from Chancellor going at one of the trio of Ithotas on the right hand side. Percival's continuing to back up on the ground for Sakura. And this looks really, really desperate now. We've got, admittedly, a sealed base thanks to composite, but just look at the devastation that's been wrought. AFK, where even is AFK's comm at this point? Moved all the way back here. He's had to evacuate his main base. Monkey Lord pushing up that left-hand side. Tons and tons of bricks coming out from Hank, who's turning into a veritable brick-making machine down there in the bottom left-hand corner. Back over on the right-hand side, one Ithota dealt with. And the bricks for Chancellor, not keen to YOLO into that Ion Storm. Oh, hello! Wow, that's gone up really quickly. So Sakura completes a Yolona Oss. Wants to get all the shielding up in the world around it, which it looks like he's currently doing. God, how did we... That was either built in record time, or I missed it on the last pass, but that has popped up out of nowhere. And is that going to give Team 1 a fighting chance? Lord knows they need it. They are losing on the ground up here. They are losing on the basin over on the right-hand side. They're losing in the air. Perhaps that is why Hank was able to get the advantage in the air game, because this is where Sakura pumped all of his eco, and if they hadn't seen it before, they will have seen it now. Let's go in, boys. I don't think that's enough, quite frankly. That's a lot of firepower, admittedly, but we've got 2 Ithotas, we've got a bunch of bricks. Where's that first super nuke going to go? Interesting decision, deciding not to utilize some of the shield gen. I guess they want to keep the shields fully charged to protect the super nuke. And it means the ground forces haven't lasted quite so long. Bricks, though, falling thick and fast against the Ithotas, but the right-hand Ithota taking those powerful alpha strikes from the Percivals. He's nearly down and out. He advances forward, so his Ion Storm will do some damage. 7,000 hit points left. Only 1 brick remaining, and the shield coverage still remains around the Yolona Oss, who's fired its first missile. Now the question is, where's it headed? This has been his primary concern down here. He's going after Chancellor. Chancellor on the move with his comm. Do we have adequate strategic missile defense? We are about to find out. Chancellor currently pulling in 552 mass per tick. 1 anti-nuke Fires. Oh my god, he only had one. Is Chancellor going to get outside the blast radius? He's very close to ground zero. Oh man. Chancellor's base just got wiped. And Chancellor took a hit himself. If he was any closer to that, he would have been down. But oh my god, are you kidding me? Composite gets taken out by strap bombers at the exact same time as the super nuke. You can understand why my attention was elsewhere. We will do a follow-up at the end of this to catch anything we missed, but that looked like a nice strap bomber attack from Hank, which has taken out Composite just as Chancellor's base got wiped out. He's still pulling in 310 mass or so, so he only lost about 240 odd, which is pretty sizable, admittedly. How is his power situation? Well, not great. Currently at a 500 net deficit. Secondary attack on the ground from Chancellor now. This time it's a megalith, which could be causing some problems. But now that the Yolona Oss is built, Sakura is full turtle mode. Pumping out clink hammers. Pumping out experimental fat boys. $72,000 hit points left on that crab. Bringing forward an Orthota or two just to soften up these forces. The next nuke is out, and this is going after the inbound forces. Beautiful placement there. That should eradicate the threat for the moment. Megalith will probably survive, take some damage. Oh, he's lost his gunships in that too. Ooh. Did not want to be that close to it. There's been some questionable gunship movement in this game from Sakura. Another nice tactical nuke out from Hooligan. Takes out this little group of mexes. Actually, some survived. Couple survived, maybe. Just one. One and a couple of plasma cannons. And once again, we see Hank massing strap bombers. Stealth-enabled strap bombers. Looking for their next victim. It's only AFK and Sakura left in the game now. Perhaps they just want to take out this Yolona Oss. I would completely understand if that was the primary concern right now. It looks like that's what they're going after. Next super nuke out. Looks like it's coming towards Hank. Hank's comms down here. Bombers now at their target though, and we don't have adequate shielding for this, I don't think. Oh, Sakura's comm right by the blast. And that is a shame for Team 1. Oh my god, he's still taking damage. He's got 1,600 hit points left. Are there any strats left, or did they all die? There's some more inbound. There are a ton of flayers in here. And they managed to deal with what's left. Did the super nuke get shot down? Certainly looks like it. Oh, what a shame. AFK needs to get something done with these two GCs. This is Thota. Not much on the ground standing between them and Hank's main base, but Hank's base is so sprawling and so decentralized. It's going to be nigh on impossible to deal a killing blow here. They're going to get picked apart from the sky by the looks of things. Team 1 with no air force left to come in and defend these experimentals. Death by 1,000 pigeon turds. Wisely going after critical infrastructure, but look at that, no volatility explosion. Hank ready and waiting with the reclaim order on his engineers to prevent that causing more damage. Is this one going to go? That one does go. Can't win them all. last remaining GC does manage to bag a couple more ion reactors, but actually in the scheme of things, I think Hank will be pleased with that. That was a scary group of units coming his way, and it's only cost him 5 or 6 reactors and a couple of factories. He's probably going to make more than that back with the mass delivery on his doorstep. 14,000, 12,000, 14,000. How are things looking over on the right? Pretty quiet now. Ground game seems to have subsided. Fighters battle over on this left-hand side. Most of these fighters actually seem to be Corsairs. We do have some ASFs in play for Hank. And Sakura just doesn't have the unit quantity to deal with it. Trio of fatties. Couple of Ithotas. One encroaching platoon of Percivals. Probably, well, might snag themselves a fat boy or two here. Sakura really could do with bringing those fat boys back and moving those Ithotas forwards. He's seen the danger now. But those Percivals are almost on top of that lead fat boy. Shield's not going to last long. Oh wow, then they switch to the Ithota. Interesting decision there. That Ithota, in his defense, did nearly go down. 10,000 hit points remaining. Got a crucial rank in veterancy which kept it alive. Ooh, what's going on here? A massive airborne incursion from Freedom Cobra, dropping T3 in the basin down here, but Sakura is ready and he's forced to drop early. Some of these units dropped onto the plateau just to avoid getting shot down. But a continuous round of ferrying going on from this position down here. That's a very sizable ground force that's just materialized right out in front of this forward fire base. You love to see it. Just need some Ride of the Valkyries music, really. I think that is another base, yet another position of Team 1's, which has been overwhelmed. That, of course, opens up another passageway up into Team 1's territory. And the ferrying continues. That's what I love, though, from Freedom Cobra that we've seen in this game, is the preparation, the unit comp. He's produced all of these transports in order to migrate this army quickly and effectively. Suddenly there's a massive force right in the middle on their doorstep, which they're not really equipped very well to deal with. We have seen these fat boys, which we just had defending this right-hand side. They are now relocating, and that is an opportunity to push down here, but we don't have an awful lot. We have got forces gathering, but we're light on direct armored firepower. We haven't got any major experimentals. Mass points going down. Where are we on the eco side of things? Team 2 almost 50%, more than 50% up on mass production now. Or there or thereabouts. Central base, which is working on an emissary, or was at some point, didn't get very far. Only 244 hit points constructed so far, but that central base now under threat. Harbingers moving in, surging in, if you will. Fat boys doing their best to move up to cover. Absolute ground drubbing going on right now from Team 2. Doesn't feel like Team 1 have done that much wrong. They've just been a little bit overwhelmed. Monkey Lord out west. It's got some 18,000 hit points, but that's a lot of T2 firepower and a functional Ithota in place to defend, so that is not going to make it out of here. Oh, gets a rank in veterancy as it finishes off the assault bot. Oh, I needed to finish off those batteries. Doesn't manage it. And the Ion Storm gets him anyway. But that base in the center was destroyed. And now they are coming for Hank at the top of the screen. Not Hank, sorry. Talking nonsense. I see a K. My brain does strange things. It's actually AFK. Might actually be enough point defense in place to stall this attack out. Maybe. What's happening over here on the right hand side? There's a push brewing. Fat Boy's transitioning back to defense over here. That's a lot. That's a lot of Novax centers going up. So the Yolona Oss didn't work out, so now we're going mass Novax. Where are they all? They're buzzing around Hank at the moment. That's crazy. AFK brings his comm out of shield coverage at the back. He's actually got advanced nano repair on that bad boy, so 46,900 hit points at full health. No gun upgrades though, so it takes a little while to chew through these units, but he eventually manages it with the assistance of these point defense batteries at the back. However, they stem the tide in one place and it pushes through in another. That western flank looking bad right now. Hank has pushed up with some bricks, taking care of small mexes here and there, some of which are still at T3. Hank must have power stalled. No. Why is he only pulling in 470? Have we had a massive mass killing operation going on from these Novax satellites? Maybe he was never pulling in that much. I thought he was pulling in a lot more than that, personally. Quantum gateways prepped for construction at the bottom of the screen. Trying to transition to some mobile eco. But this is an interesting change of tactic here. There is a lot of unsecured real estate, uncovered, unshielded. Can Sakura wipe out Team 2's eco if he builds enough Novax satellites? Or can he even find all 4 comms and finish them off? Checking back in on his main base though as Percival's stomp their way up to it. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Fat Boys, 2 Ithotas trying to defend here. Tons of Clink Hammers, but he's got very little in the way of close range static defense. Shielding finally capitulates. And some of these shots from this diminishing Percival horde start breaching through momentarily. But he just needed another one of those armies. That's so many that's so many. No, he's got more up here. He's building more. Oh my god. That's insane. He's got 19 Novax satellites. What the hell? Where are the comms right now? Look at all of them. They're going after the shield gens down here. Hank is over here. Maybe he's vulnerable. Well, there goes the shield coverage. Hank taking fire. Hit points evaporating. Engineers desperately trying to get shield coverage on, and they just manage it, but for how long? He had 1,700 hit points left on that commander. They build another shield gen and then immediately support it, and they're managing to tank the Novak's fire for now. There's so many engineers in here holding this thing at bay. Hank with the lucky escape, but this is a very intimidating position to be in. That must have been another tactical nuke there being used offensively by Hooligan Gamer, who's got his comm on the front line. Everyone on Team 2 should be wary though now. If you haven't got this amount of build capacity to help defend your comm, you could be in trouble. He's lurking with a transport. Is he going to try and get his comm off the ground just to keep him safe from these darn satellites? Looks like it. It's probably not a bad play. Of course, it then leaves you vulnerable to an ASF strike. But he deems that the less credible threat right now. Picks up his comm and evacs. And the Novaks are tracking him. But yeah, look at all of these dead mass points. That's why his mass production fell off a cliff. Look at all of the destroyed ion reactors. Another Billy nuke over in the east. And a wave of scout planes now being dispatched from Sakura's main base. No doubt looking for other commanders. That's the pesky comm who's launching TAC missiles right now. It's Hooligan Gamer. He would be an easy target. All over my base too with the Novak satellites. He's got a separate contingent of Novak satellites just harassing Hooligan's base right now. Freedom's comm over here. Everybody's probably going to have to adopt this transport tactic. I lost my SMD. Yay, fly away and live. Yeah, I suggest everybody try to do that. And it looks like they have cottoned on to Hooligan's location. They've broken the shield. Hooligan now taking damage. Nowhere near the number of Novak satellites up here to what was buzzing over Hank's base a moment ago, but there is enough. And that will be the first comm kill by Team 1. Admittedly, it's one of their lower rated players. But what does that even mean? So far, the most impressive player in this game for me has been Freedom Cobra, and he's the second lowest rated player in the game at 800. So, what's in a rating anyway? And Hank going for a Mavor, and actually steaming through it. About 1/3 done, or coming towards 1/3 complete. Where are all the satellites now? That's the question. How many satellites are we up to? That's another profound question. If I could click on the right person, that would help. We are up to 22 Novak satellites. That is insane. This is a masterclass in standoff tactics. However, we have artillery pressure being brought to bear now by Chancellor, who's got a disruptor up here in the backfield. I imagine that might draw the attention of the satellites. Indeed, they are lurking in that direction. Well, at the moment, they want to take down Chancellor's comm. Engineers rushing in to try and support. He's got a solid group of overlapping shields, but without huge quantities of build capacity, they will fail. There's the capitulation. Sakura wants to dispatch some of these satellites to start taking these shield generators out so they can't pop back online and defend the comm. Another volley. Is this going to take him out? Boom! And that's 2 kills he's managed to get with this outrageous quantity of satellites. Oh, but AFK in trouble. Another lovely little drop from Freedom Cobra. Finally finishes him off. And Sakura is left all by his lonesome. Can the satellite heavy strat carry him to victory? That's the question. He can't kill off Hank. Dragonfly protection in effect. And it looks like Freedom Cobra is now on a transport also. How is... Where is it? Where on earth? There it is. Mavor now 2/3 done. Tons of rover drones buzzing around it. Like busy little bees. Look at that. Do you think he doesn't want to get Billy nuked anymore? Well, he managed to kill off the Billy nuke threat. Now that Hooligan Game has been taken out. But my concern is he's not got enough defensive firepower on the ground. He's got a couple of partially damaged, or badly damaged actually, Ithotas there. We've got one half-finished Fat Boy there. And again there. And another one there. There's a quad of Fat Boys defending that western flank. But his operational sphere of influence is diminishing minute by minute. Hunting down now these disruptors. There's another one that's been worked on down here in the bottom right. That's not going to get completed, I don't think, unless his attention gets drawn elsewhere. He killed off the first one. There is no shielding right now that seems to be able to hold up to that many satellites. Mavor must draw attention. He'll want to take that out before it goes online. I wonder if he can find these comms, if he could get overhead and ground fire and hope that the beams cut through the transport. Is that even a thing? Answers in the comments section below if that's even possible. I would love to see it. And while you're down there, if you're still watching after all this time, kudos to you. Smash the old like button. You clearly enjoy the content. Show some appreciation for these excellent players and the show they've been putting on today. Ithota doing its level best to contend with all of these Perseus. But down he goes. Fat Boys can be great supplements to base defense, but it's always nice to have a tanky assault bot or something like that to stand guard out front to absorb and soak up some of the damage. T1 bombers being brought in, always a sign of desperation. Percival's picking off every structure they can, but their numbers are beginning to dwindle. But there's a whole fresh force in the west that he needs to worry about. What's he going after now with the Novaks? Hard to see. Impacts on that Aeon shielding. But the Mavor is online. The ultimate penis of doom with the ultimate punching power. Dominating all with its mighty erection. When it hits stuff. So, is it the Novak satellites or is it the nuke launcher he's concerned about? Next round should do it. Here it comes. It was the nuke launcher, which is a thing of the past. And those units from the west now bearing down on this position. I sort of feel like if Team 2 just went full ground at this point, they'd be able to break in here. Do we have another army materializing? Well, he's just constantly airlifting and supplementing this area. Probably doesn't want to try and get any closer, risk those transports getting shot down. Hank with a massive advantage in the air. 347 ASFs for Hank. Sakura with 235. That's not too bad. Obviously not enough by comparison, but it's still a solid showing. Doesn't look like there's 235 in there, does it? Must be heavily overlapped in that formation they're flying in. Why are they going now? There's a Scathis that's under construction. Did they take out the Mavor? They took out the Mavor. It's just, it's too much infrastructure. It's too decentralized. If you can't snipe the comm, might be able to ground fire through here, but I love that. On a continental, constantly moving, that would be very difficult. Oh, so much damage. Look at it. Just look at it. It's like the GDI defense cannon. Oh. Sakura's comm over here. Got the extended personal shield, but look at this. Nice group of Ravagers going up in the backfield. Harbingers there aren't going to pose a threat, I don't believe. But I just don't see how he comes out of this. He's going to get picked apart from multiple directions. Air Force against Air Force. That's going to go Hank's way. Oh, and look at this. Yeah, that's going to do it. Strats inbound. Hank with the killing blow. And Sakura, as wonderful as that insane quantity of Novak satellites was, it wasn't enough. Ah, Guile-worthy, says Hooligan. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I thought I would include it. Why not? I don't know what I'm going to do for a thumbnail now, because we've had a lot of Novak's games recently where I featured the thumbnail. If I keep doing that, people are going to think they've seen it. But yeah, anyway, that wraps that up. Let's take a look at a couple of things that we missed. So we rejoined the game at 36 minutes and 57 seconds. And this was the point where the super nuke was bearing down on Chancellor's main base. Chancellor, if you remember, managed to escape it just. He got a little bit of a nick, but his base did not. His base got obliterated. And while our attention was consumed by this, there was an attack going on, which I spectacularly missed, which is already underway, actually, from where you can see I've paused it. The lead bomber, which has taken a bit of damage, has already discharged its payload onto this T3 shield gen. And you can see it's only one, pretty much. I think he's outside. He looks like he's just outside this secondary one over here. So there's only one covering the comm at the time. There is some Air Force available to Team 1, but not nearly enough. Had they even been paying attention to this move, they wouldn't have had enough to shoot down these bombers, I don't think, anyway. They are outnumbered by Hank's own forces, which are just down here. Hank produced these strat bombers. They were settled here for a while, and then they got given the go code to attack the comm. They came straight up here, and if we move time on, you can see the attack ensues. They do get a third shield gen up, which does cover the comm just after the attack kicks off, but it doesn't cover the comm for long. There is the aerial response from Sakura, but the fighters only managed to pick off a couple of bombs, or a couple of the bombers, before finally, at 37 minutes and 15 seconds, Composite is eliminated. And there was one more play which we just missed, which I'd just like to show you. So at 39 minutes and 16 seconds, a handful of bombers which moved up this left-hand side for Hank came in to attack AFK, who's already partially damaged. He had only modest shield covering around what's left of his base up here at the top of the screen. You can see he had started work on a nano repair upgrade, had to cancel that just so he could get moving, and almost gets taken out. And if it wasn't for these couple of T3 SAM sites, those bombers probably would have finished him off. And that was at 39 minutes. But then again, he gets into another sticky position a little bit later on. And then we rejoin the game at 42 minutes and 18 seconds. And he has finished the nano repair, advanced nano repair this time. So he's at his maximum, or almost maximum, 40,200. Obviously hasn't got his rank in veterancy or whatever. But there's been a big old kerfuffle up here with various fighter craft for the preceding couple of minutes, and Sakura is slowly losing fighter numbers, and what's left is this combination of a handful of strats and a ton of Corsair fighters, which again renew their attack on AFK, who this time has a little bit more HP. A lovely little dart to his left there avoids a lot of that inbound fire, takes him down to 29,000 hit points. The shielding's collapsed, but there are still 3 operational shield gens here which just need to recharge. A second volley comes in. Build capacity gets shielding on to block some of that inbound fire. AFK actually holding all right. He's still on about 27,000 hit points, and then Sakura finally manages to finish off that fighter craft, and then AFK manages, of course, to stay in the game for another 10 minutes or so before eventually getting picked off at about 53 minutes from the start of the game. So that pretty much concludes all the points of interest that we missed. There may have been some more. If there were, do feel free to lambast me for them in the comment section below. It all helps get the video out to more people with more interaction. If you like this, guys, and you've seen, well, you've done well if you've seen everything, but if you'd like to support me and see a little bit more and certainly some ad-free content, there are some 100 and, I don't know, pull a number out of there, 118, 17, something like that, premium casts over on the Patreon. It's a mere $1 a month, and like I said, they're ad-free. You also get access to the Discord as well, so do go and check that out, link in the description below. But until next time, guys, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.